Hey, this is Craig Finn, and you're watching 101.9 KINK in the Skype Live studio.
That is Craig Finn. Wow, you really sobered up the room there with that one.
It's a sad one.
Yeah. I wasn't planning on fighting back the tears before the interview, but thank God. I'm one of those guys. I'll be driving in my car. I'll just bawl my eyes out.
Oh, there's like only about 4% of Hollywood movies that don't make me cry. I cry at things. It's embarrassing. I mean, I can be like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen, and all of a sudden I'm tearing up.
I was doing that just the other night. Have you seen Wild?
I
Reese
saw
Witherspoon,
Wild. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I cried at that.
Yeah. The first time I saw it in the theaters, I was like, that's cool. Because we're from the Northwest. We're looking for all the beautiful, pretty pictures of the outdoors. And then watched it again at home. And my girlfriend and I, where we looked at each other, we're just snot and tears. It was kind of like what your song is going to do to people, apparently. Hey, welcome back to the Skype Live studio.
It's great to be back.
And welcome back to Portland. It was about a year ago. Yeah. He's in a band called The Hold Steady. Yeah, you can give them a little bit of love. Craig's other band. And I was doing months and months of research on this interview, by the way. And the headline today, if you search for your name, here's the headline: Craig Finn loses leg after his friend sets him on fire as a joke. There's a guy. This really happened to another Craig Finn.
Another guy. Wow.
I was glad to know it wasn't you.
Usually, I'm pretty happy that I'm the first guy that shows up on Google, but not today.
Yeah. Search for myself. What? Who is this guy?
Who's this guy?
Setting his friend on fire.
That would make me cry too.
Yeah, right. So, in making this record, you went to where was it again? Woodstock.
Woodstock. Yeah, I did it in 3 sessions. We kept going to Woodstock like for just short periods of time, like weekends. Me and Josh Kaufman, who produced it, and this guy Joe Russo, who played drums, and serendipitously, 2 out of 3 times we got snowed in, which was very good way to work. And especially, I'm originally from Minnesota, so snowed in is kind of a natural state for me.
Yeah.
And it was cool, you know. It was like there's no distractions. So snowed in is kind of a luxury as long as you are stocked up on food and drink and wine and all that. It's actually kind of fun. So we got a lot done. I think we made the record quicker and with more focus than if it would have been, beautiful days out.
Right. Yeah. Hey guys, I'm gonna go outside and leave for a while. Oh, nope, I can't. Let's keep on going.
Yeah. Let's do another one.
Yeah. And this record, I was reading that it's appropriately due out on 9/11.
There is a song called Neumeyer's Roof. It's actually I'll play later. That is kind of. I spent 9/11. I'd been in New York just about a year, and my boss was this guy named Chris Neumeyer, and we went to his house or his apartment when the planes hit the towers to see better, and. It was a very strange day, but partially because we're up there at it's 9:30 in the morning. We're watching the towers burn, and this sounds very detached or unemotional. But Chris turned to me and said, "Should we get some beers?" And it sounds insane now, but at the time we had no emotion to access. So we went down to the deli and got some beer and went and stood up on the towers or up on the roof and watched the towers eventually go down.
Wow,
which is crazy. But the second part of that story is crazier. Which is there was a girl on the 34th floor of the tower, and she was, when the planes hit, they told her to stay where she was, and they told everyone that, and she didn't like that. So she didn't think that sounded like a good idea. So she left. She walked down all the flights of stairs and walked out into the street, and she saw some things she wished she didn't see, but she was able to walk away from the buildings and, like the rest of us in New York and in the country, try to get on with her life the best she could. Now, a few years later, that girl went to a birthday party, and I went to the birthday party, and I went up and I talked to her, and we talked all night and fell in love, and we're still together. And I always think, wow, when I was drinking beer, watching the tower go down, I'm so glad that she didn't do what they told her to do.
Yeah. Wow.
And so that there's a part of that, the record, Faith in the Future, is the title of the record, is about believing there's something better to come even in the darkest moments.
Yeah. Wow, that's a crazy story. Unbelievable. My father was in flight at the time.
Wow.
He was coming back from Africa and got rerouted to Newfoundland for 5 days. I can imagine what it's like to come out of that experience and living in New York at the time.
Yeah, and being kind of a new New Yorker also.
Yeah.
Like, I was sort of it was still a year in, which doesn't feel like you're still kind of visiting in some way. And,
yeah.
And also, the hangover that kind of that pervaded for years. It didn't feel right for years afterwards. So, but I mean, I think it's funny. A lot of the songs in the record when I made this record ended up, and when you make a record, sometimes it reveals itself to you a little bit. And I think that in this case, I got all the songs together and started playing them, and I realized a lot of them were about people persevering after tragedy or change in their lives. And so it ended up being kind of a hopeful record, I think. But you know, I wasn't planning on that going in, but that's where it ended up being.
The record's due out, like I said, September 11th, and there's a pledge pre-order where people can pre-order the record, and then they can go above and beyond that. What's some of the cool stuff? They can go like record shopping with you, and
and it's cool. We did this with the Hold Steady, and I was a little nervous when we did it with the Hold Steady, but what it turned out to really kind of underscore how important the community around music is and around the band. So I really wanted to do something, even though we made the record this time in a more traditional way. You know, we made it with a label and all that. For the pre-order, I wanted to add those kind of things. So yeah, we've been going. I went record shopping twice this weekend with fans, which was really fun. There's a song called 3 Drinks that is on the record. So we have 3 drinks with me. We have a fantasy football league and a book club, which are the 2 ones I'm most excited about. There's still a slot or 2 in the fantasy football league. I think that's the best one. So I encourage anyone interested to check out because the season's almost upon us.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool that you still reach out like that, though, because you don't really have to, but it puts you much more in touch with the fan base.
It's amazing. I mean, the fans that I've met through this are all just great people, and they're very similar people. So it's I think the reality is the Hold Steady and my audience are largely adults, and so it's pretty easy to have conversations. And usually find some similar interests, etc.
Relatable people.
Yeah, I mean, I went record shopping with this girl the other day, and I was like, "Oh, you should get this. You should get this." And she's like, "Oh, great, but have you heard this?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
She's like, "You should get that." And so it ended up being this really fun day at the record store.
Music heads talking music.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Exactly.
I'm going to shut up and get out of the way. Put your hands together. Craig Finn, thank you so much.
Thank you.